Welcome to Florida Focus, a college football podcast. My name is Brandon. I am a lifetime Florida State Seminole fan.
And I am Chris, and I am a proud Gator fan.
And today we are putting aside our differences as rivals to bring you the fantastic world of college football throughout the Sunshine State. I think I'd rather talk about cooking techniques and why spatulas are better if they're wooden versus metal today. But let's go ahead and dive in. I'll let you go first, Chris. What happened in Death Valley? Why did the Gators slip up by 14? And what did you notice that you liked and saw opportunities for?
Yeah, I would definitely like to learn about how spoons go into ice cream and get into my bowl. But we had to watch some football, and the outcomes were not great. But the Gators go into Death Valley. They lose on the road by 14 against what looks to be a really good LSU football team. Someone that might be able to contend with Bama in the West. But I'm real proud of our Gators. I am. I'm proud that they hung in there in a tough environment. Trask and everyone on the offense, at least, really didn't seem to flinch. I really can't ask for too much more other than a win, obviously. But I'm not big on moral victories. But if you're going to lose, looking like you're a decent team, and we did that. Yeah. They outlasted us. They were just a better team. What I think really hurt us was not having Grenard in there. He has been the heart and soul of the defense. So he doesn't play, but then you get Zuniga back, who is a really good pass rusher, but he gets injured. And just not having those guys really, really hurt us. And we hung in there. We had a lead, but just couldn't get it done in the fourth quarter, and just waiting for LSU to make mistakes, and they didn't. So we made one crucial mistake, and they made zero, and they won. They're the better team, and hats off to them.
Yeah, I was actually really impressed with Florida as well. They came in with a fantastic game plan, and that is hold the ball as long as you can and score.
Yep.
And that's exactly what they did.
Yeah.
Their passing game just continues to improve, and that was what was kind of impressive to me. Trask only took 2 sacks, which to me is an improvement.
Mm-hmm.
And
didn't fumble when he got sacked.
There you go. Very good. And they did not let the crowd get to them. It's kind of hard to say in the fourth quarter it's not going to, but yeah. Great game plan, well executed, clean game by the Gators, and they continue to improve, and man, well called, honestly, just all around.
Yeah, and the game plan was great. Like, they have a great offense. Our defense is struggling, so keep the ball away from them, and not just keep the ball away from them, but get first downs, and then put the ball in the end zone, not settling for field goals. They couldn't do it for 4 quarters, but they did it for at least 3, and that was a good game plan, and put ourselves, the Gators at least, in a chance to win. And so I really liked on offense, like you said, Trask not turning the ball over. We had somewhat of a running game compared to what we've had in the past, and it wasn't just Pirine. Everybody, Jones has a nice wrinkle coming in, having the receivers with some end arounds and whatnot. So 146 on the ground, decent, not great, but considering where we were earlier in the year, I think it's an improvement against LSU. So I'm happy with that. Our O-line did well protecting Trask until the end there. They kind of were able to get some people on the edge and pressure Trask. But for the most part, the O-line that has been banged up and hasn't been playing to their potential all year actually held their own for a good amount of time. And like we said, Trask going over 300 yards, 3 touchdowns, just that one costly pick there. So I really like where our offense is going, and like you said, the game plan. As far as good things on defense, do you know of any? Because I can't think of one. I was racking my brain today.
They got off the field fast.
Yeah, I mean, I guess they weren't winded,
Yeah.
but yeah, that's about it. Offense was great. Defense just let us down. I know that it's just two guys not playing, but man, it really made a difference not having those guys on the field, um, and defense hurt us and defense let us down for sure. But there's a lot of positives on the offensive side of the ball.
Yeah, I think the defense was just, and I was surprised at how overmatched they were with the wide receivers. Burrows only had 2 incompletions the entire night.
Yeah.
Tough to see, but they were just incredibly efficient with the ball, as they have been this entire year.
Mm-hmm.
So, like you said, I think they're even a lot better than I thought.
Yeah, for sure. Those are those positives, and I've talked about some of the negatives. That one key turnover, which, if you're looking back at the whole season, we're used to like 4 a game. So
Yeah.
I'll take one and a chance to win. But on the flip side, we didn't force any. We didn't force any turnovers. And like I said, good job on LSU not making mistakes. We didn't put them in positions to make mistakes. So they didn't make mistakes. So that's not good. No push up front. Really, like the times that we did get pressure Burrow, we let him escape. But he's not really that athletic, but he went for over 40 yards rushing, and he had no. He was clean the whole game, And the stat that stuck out to me the most, we had 1 tackle for loss, and yeah, that's not like us at all. We're used to like multiple sacks and everybody flying around in the backfield. 1 tackle for loss, it's not good, and that was by Zuniga, who got injured and was out of the game. So we don't give up too many big plays per game, but we gave up a lot in the air and on the ground as well. And one thing that surprised me was that we've been really good at, if we just hang around at halftime, we make the adjustments, especially on defense, and we stop them, shut them out second half. We did not do that at all. Grantham got out coached. He did not make the adjustments at halftime like he normally does. And so that was kind of surprising to see. And a lot of stuff to work on for sure on the defensive end.
Yeah, I was very surprised. I mean, they come out and take the lead 28-21, I think it was, and then shut out the rest of the game. That was a little bit surprising, but to have a lead in the second half, still impressive. Mm-hmm. But after that, they reel off another 3 touchdowns.
Yeah.
And how many times is Florida going to have 4th and goal inside the 5 this year? I mean, this is crazy. And the thing is, they're converting most of them.
Yeah.
Now, this game would look very different. Was it 4th down? Was it the catch to Pirine that got bobbled? The game would have looked very different had he dropped that.
True. Very true.
But he didn't. He caught it. The other thing I just really was surprised at, no rushing touchdowns for the Gators. All were through the air.
Yeah, very true. That's a good point there. I was wanting more Emory Jones, and this is the amount that I wanted. Maybe throw a little bit more, but I liked how they incorporated him in there. A few plays here, make them think a little differently, and then put Trask back in. And Trask is pretty clutch, and really surprised how just efficient, consistent he is. So I like this. It gives me hope. Just really have to get healthy on defense and figure out if Zuniga and Gernard can't continue to play, or if someone else goes down, we need some other guys to step in, especially on the line, to get some kind of pressure.
Yeah, I would like to see that. I really do like Emory Jones in the red zone because the field shrinks a lot, and it takes away a lot of your passing options. And it gives you his pocket presence to run, which is, like you said, a good wrinkle to have, and that's the best spot in the field for it.
Mm-hmm, yeah, and we were doing well. Just there was 2 red zones opportunities in the 4th, and we just couldn't convert. So it stinks for sure. You don't want to lose, and it's frustrating when you get close. But considering how, I guess, it could have gone and how good LSU really is, I'm okay. I'm okay with this.
You would have had to play a perfect game to win that.
Yeah, and we did for a while, but not the whole time.
A long drive that ends in a touchdown, and I mean, the only thing you're like, okay, they missed their field goal in the first possession. You're like, okay, maybe. But third quarter, they took off.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
Yeah, nothing else to add there. I was as soon as Florida went up 20-21, I said, no matter what happens the rest of the game, the Gators should be happy with his performance.
Yeah, absolutely. Always things to lose. Not happy that we lost, but I'm okay. I got over it quicker than normal.
Yeah.
All right. So from one Death Valley featuring Tigers to another Death Valley featuring Tigers.
Both Tigers and Death Valley dominated. Both scored 42.
Okay,
no, well, sorry, no. Clemson had 45 late at field goal. My apologies.
Gotcha.
However, Florida State did not go well. I shouldn't have expected more than this. I would have liked maybe another score. So 14, a little low. I would have liked 17-20. But I'm just glad we didn't get shut out, and it looked like we could have at one point. So the Noles fall 45-14. The first half just looked like a video game. I mean, we couldn't do anything. We didn't have any drive more than 24 yards. We had turnovers. We had constant sacks. We couldn't get off the field on defense. They were doing whatever they wanted. They threw a deep pass to start the game. Then they ran a trick play with Etienne. I said, okay, they're out for blood. That's fine. They don't like to mess around with us, and I get it. They've seen what's happened in the top 5. They knew that they nearly got upset 2 weeks ago. I'm not shocked. Nole fans shouldn't be mad about this, honestly, too much. I mean, you never like to lose, especially not in this fashion, but come on, what did you really expect? Offensive line is terrible. Our defense is young and makes a lot of mistakes. The bright spot would have been the offense, so that's the one thing I look at. I was like, well, that's really what we should have improved upon. But let me finish the positives first. Nashville Dean made an amazing interception. It was like an NFL catch. He tiptoed to the sideline, stretched out. So surprisingly, Lawrence has thrown quite a few this year. He's already matched last year's total, which is kind of odd, but still not going to matter in the long run. Hornibrook does go 8 of 12, although he didn't look all that great. He had a lost fumble. He did throw an interception. Doesn't have all the pocket presence I would like. Of course, he's used to Wisconsin's, and you see what they're doing right now. Wisconsin's offensive line.
Yeah.
And the nation's best running back, which we don't have. Yeah. We have a good one, but the offensive line is I don't know, bottom third in the nation, if that. LeBourne, our backup running back, gets his first touchdown at Florida State, so that's kind of nice. And then Terry does his thing with a long TD. So I think the thing out of this game was you didn't want injury, and we got one, which was Helton, our best receiver so far this year, honestly. Doing better than Terry, and he's out, I think, for the year, which is sad. Now, fortunately, we have a lot of options, but we were down 42-0 before we even scored. They were on their third string. It was just really ugly. I think we ended up with a couple hundred yards of offense, but none of it in time that mattered. We were down by 6 touchdowns before we even started moving the ball. So, yeah.
Yeah, if Clemson wanted to, they could have shut you out. 60, if they 70, wanted to,
sure.
They could have easily dropped 60. I think that they were like, okay, we're done, and they put the backups in, and there are some bright spots, but this is kind of what we thought might happen. There is the positive that you didn't get shut out, you didn't quit completely.
Correct.
I don't think FSU quit really. Clemson was just really good. Really, they were just really, really good. And like you said, they did not want to mess around. They messed around with North Carolina. They know that Florida State has talent. They don't like Florida State at all.
Nope.
So they did not mess around. But everything that could go wrong went wrong in the first half.
Yeah.
Like everything. And it was weird to see. Weird to see just every snap went Clemson's way pretty much the first half.
Yeah.
And it was over before FSU realized what was going on.
It was a perfect game by them. They were doing literally whatever they wanted. I mean, like 8 yards of play, no matter what they were trying.
Yeah.
End arounds, reverses, guys were out of position. We were turning the ball over on offense. It's actually stopped them on 4th and goal. So that was one bright, and they missed a field goal. So I was like, well, that's too positive of the first half. But On that fourth down, they really could have kicked a field goal, and we'd have been down 34-0 at halftime if they made the second one. So there's not really a whole lot I can stretch out of it, to be completely honest. Yeah. Kendall Briles just looked like a deer in the headlights, our offensive coordinator. I've never seen him have those his eyes so wide. And he just didn't see what was coming. And this is kind of a statement to how the whole ACC is. Remember those years that there was like Florida State and everybody else? So now it's Clemson and everybody else, and we're on the other side of this. There is just a huge Grand Canyon between Clemson and everybody else. Mm-hmm. And Florida State is in the middle of that pack that's just going to beat each other up and end up 7-5. And it's a weird feeling for sure, but that's just the reality right now.
Yes. When some stats that stick out to me, and I'm pretty sure you know this too, but the rushing, giving up 300 yards rushing, that's going to hurt. Like you said, Lawrence really didn't look like he was worried at all, wasn't pressured, wasn't stressed. They were trying so many different things, and not out of desperation, but because they could, different people getting in. Really tough one for sure for Florida State. But you have to look at, like, hey, we put up 14 points. There are some. Terry makes a nice big play. Of course, it was second, third string.
Yeah. But
I would forget that the first half even happened.
Right. As much as you can.
We lost 17-14.
Yeah.
Forget the first half, just second half. We lost 17-14.
Right. And we didn't have an FSU book guy moment like last year. We didn't lose composure is the biggest thing. This time last year we had personal fouls.
Yeah, they didn't do anything. There was no meltdowns. I don't really think they quit. You saw some frustration out of Blackman for sure, but he's an emotional player. Yep. Nothing crazy. You just got beat by a really good defending national champion. So.
Really good team who's won 21 now in a row. And you're right. You didn't give up. Now I don't know if you ever watch boxing, Chris. The sweet science, as they call it. So sometimes if you're going up against the heavyweight champion and you're punching back, even though you're getting pummeled, you're going to lose the fight. And they can sometimes call it and just say it's over. That's what happened here. You're up against a heavyweight champion, and you're swinging back. You're trying to get first downs. You're trying to move the ball. It's not working. You're already out. You're down for the count, basically. But they're just letting the fight continue. That's what this was here. It was a really overmatched opponent. And, I don't apologize for saying I thought this would be a bad game. And I don't think this changes anything about Florida State's season. Nothing. Going in, you didn't expect to win this game anyway.
Yeah, true. It kind of played out how everyone thought it was going to play out. So
exactly.
Yeah. Yep. All right. Okay, so let's move past all
right
this
along because it's only W's from here on out. Our team's lost.
We're the only Florida. Oh man, that stinks.
I know.
It stinks. And now we have to talk about Miami.
And they actually won. Gross.
But yeah, so the Hurricanes pull off an upset over Virginia, the 20th ranked Virginia Cavaliers, 17-9, and an ugly game, but they won. And I think a story that sticks out is they kept them out of the end zone.
Yes.
Only held them to 3 field goals, and the defense kind of got their swagger back a little bit. And I think you're seeing that, although it's not pretty, N'Kosi Perry is your guy. I really think he is.
Yeah, after the first drive when he throws that screen pass to Dallas, it was nasty for like 2.5 quarters.
Yeah.
Before they were able to recover, and they ran when they actually had another decent drive. I think it's the one that ended up in a touchdown. They got Jordan like on a reverse because they just couldn't complete passes and they couldn't move the ball. I was like, where was this the rest of the game? So why these guys disappear for drives at a time just doesn't make any sense to me. But yeah, maybe that's their recipe, is a really nasty defense that just doesn't allow anything. I mean, they shut Bryce Perkins down. I don't even know that he got 200 yards total. Of course, you mentioned held him out of the end zone, and he's a dual-threat quarterback, and they did not let him run at all.
Right. And once you make a guy that's used to running around one-dimensional, it's tough. It really is.
Yep.
So, good for them. Let's see if it's the turnaround that they needed. I mean, I'm not saying that Kosi Perry is the greatest quarterback, but for them, I think he's the best. And if you're Miami, every play it's either Jeff Thomas, Dallas, or Jordan.
Yeah.
If they're not open, take a knee. Like just run it. In the next play, look for Thomas or Jordan. If they're not open, look for the screen to the little dump out to Dallas. If he's not open, take a knee. Try again.
And it's because their offensive line it's honestly, Chris, one of the worst in the nation. And that means that somehow it's worse than Florida State. I do not know how they managed this. But I'm pretty sure I saw that oh, God. I think I saw in the game that they've given up the most sacks in the nation. You just can't move the ball that way.
Yeah.
And Florida already showed us that, hey, 10 sacks is not undoable.
Yeah. Oh, this is a fun stat. Virginia 74 yards rushing, Miami 83. A lot of passing yards, but no one really. You need to run the game if you want to win.
Sure.
And no one really did that for a while. Just Miami outlasted them there.
And only 17-9, 26 combined points despite all that passing. That's what's really confusing.
Yeah.
Drives just couldn't be finished, and Virginia took some unnecessary risk. I mean, they started kicking field goals late, which was the right thing to do at the time. But then they had to throw a Hail Mary just to try and get in at the end, and too little too late. Right. Unfortunately, just a ACC macro view here, Chris, this really means that there's a possibility an 8-4 team goes to the Orange Bowl. That is how bad the rest of the ACC is this year. And what stings about it is Florida State could have had a decent season, won 8 or 9 games, and they'd be in the Orange Bowl. We can't even do that because we're not that good. What would really stink is like Georgia or someone really good rolls in, and they're just going to steamroll whoever they play. Anyway, that's what this means for the conference. Is probably your best team besides Clemson actually loses on the road. But
yeah, or if someone knocks Clemson out, then like Clemson would be that team. But
right.
But yeah, that's so didn't a scenario play out like that recently? Maybe like 10 years ago, something like that with Wake Forest going to a big bowl because of.
Well, Wake Forest
am I overthinking it? I don't know.
Wake Forest did actually win the ACC in 2006. As dumb as that sounds, it actually happened. And so they got the Orange Bowl bid that season and played Louisville. The Maybe American Conference inherited the Big East bid for the first season, so I think that was 2013. UCF got to go to a bowl because of that. I remember a Pittsburgh team in the Big East back in the day when like 8-4 and got to go to the. They've been playing Urban Meyer's Utah and losing the year that they went undefeated or something.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of.
It could have been any number of those scenarios where a really bad team sneaks in. And it's going to happen this year. I'm pretty sure of that.
Man.
Yep.
He is.
But thank you, Miami. But yeah, they win and they found a recipe for success. Let's see if they can keep that going.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. UCF was off. You want to talk about South Florida?
Yeah. So let's talk about them.
Yeah.
The Bulls and Charlie Strong, the fighting Charlie Strong's getting a win. I'm not saying saving this season and saving his job, but surprising a lot of people beating BYU.
Definitely a pick-me-up for the fans there. Beat a team and a game they got out-rushed, out-passed. BYU just made some mistakes. They had turnover on downs. They had one key turnover. I believe it was an interception. Or was it a fumble? After they had just turned over USF. And, South Florida just took off on the ground. Cronkite is back, apparently.
Yeah.
Back-to-back games. They had over 100 rushing yards, 2 TDs. And their first one after they threw it to their touchdown, to tight end, Wilcox, they just ran the ball.
Mm-hmm.
This is a game they were twice down by, I think, 9. And good for them. They held on. They scored 2 touchdowns late, and they held off a late rally by the Cougars.
Yeah. Cronkite, over 150 yards and 2 touchdowns. And he disappeared and then said, hey, I'm still on the team, and I'm still pretty good. And yeah, like you said, just fighting back the whole game in that fourth quarter, scoring 2 touchdowns and not allowing BYU to score. And you could just see it was slipping away from BYU, even though they were, for the most part of the game, the better team. But
Sure.
just self-inflicted wounds, like you said. And, wow, just when you think South Florida is just dead in the water, they come back and do something like this.
Yeah. And this is, BYU is, I think, 2-4. I mean, this is definitely, I don't know, a signature win for this season, but it's definitely their best win of the year.
Yeah. And how about BYU having a great couple games and then
they're sliding.
not?
Yeah. That's crazy to see. And then we mentioned this in the pregame. We were like, okay, we don't know which BYU team's going to show up, and wouldn't be like I said I'm going to pick BYU, but not surprised that the Bulls win, and they did.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So good for them.
Indeed.
All right, so let's talk about FAU getting a win at home against Middle Tennessee, 28-13. And the story, many stories, but that second half shutting them out. And pulling away at the end, they're scoring 16 to nothing in the second half there. And I think what really set the tone is Middle Tennessee goes down early and scores, but then they have FAU blocks the extra point and goes down and gets the 2-point conversion for them. And really was like, hey, we're here to stay. Yeah, you got that touchdown, but that always just has to stink.
It does.
When
yeah.
You get a touchdown and either A, miss the extra point, but then they get points out of it. That's just got to be somewhat, I don't know, you still get 6 points out of it, but I don't know, it's just got to be a weird feeling.
Sure. Yeah, it's almost like all the momentum's right back with the other team. You're absolutely right. And I think that stuck out to me is Robeson is good, not great in this game, and Davison, just good Lord. 149 yards rushing on 21 carries. They have really found, and this is a guy who a month ago you didn't even know who he was.
Right.
And they have really taken off on the running game. That's the thing that stuck out to me the most.
Yeah, and I think you and I were at the FAU UCF game talking like, who is their running, like who's their guy? I don't know if they found him, but they have. They didn't find him at that point. It took them a while, but the lane train is going, and they're going in the right direction.
Yeah, absolutely. This is 4 wins in a row now. They're picking up steam, and watch out. I think I might have picked the wrong South Florida team to win the conference this year.
It's still early. But good for them. Get them turning around, and we know that he's an offensive guy, and they're going to get it going eventually.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, good 15-point win at home. I totally forgot it was homecoming too, but yeah.
Yeah, I didn't realize that either. But one side note, their end zone. I don't know if you noticed their end zone. They made it all patriotic and stuff, like stars and stripes. And I love the idea, and I love America, but man, that was hard to look at. It was a little hard on the eyes. There's a lot going on with the paint job there, But hey, it helps when you win, though.
Sure. To me, they're color rush. Or I don't know if that's actually color rush. They're all red uniforms. A little much.
Yeah, I agree too. I like they're all whites.
Yeah,
I like they're all whites, but the all reds not so much.
They seem to be the one team in the state to stick with the outline of the state of Florida in their helmet.
Yeah, I think that's pretty cool too.
Yeah, I like that.
All right, and then we have FIU. Home game against Charlotte, and they won by a lot, 48-23, in a game that we thought that might go either way. But I think Charlotte's 0-2 now against the Florida schools.
Yeah.
But story of this Jones, the running back, caught 3. Ran for 3, caught 1, and rushed for 117 yards on 13 carries. And Morgan was solid as well, but it's just too much of the Panthers for Charlotte the whole game.
Yeah, I think I was pretty wrong. I think Charlotte started off. It turns out that good offense doesn't equal wins, and Charlotte just flat out hasn't gotten a good win this year.
Yeah,
and they kind of showed why in this game. They allowed FIU to go balanced the entire game. Morgan had to do very little. He only threw 16 passes. So when you have the rushing attack, you have 2 guys going over 100 yards, and one guy, Price, nearly gets at 100.
Mm-hmm.
You just don't have to throw it. And Florida knows all about that with Tim Tebow. So, I mean, you have 2 or 3 guys that can keep doing it, no need. And, yeah, this FIU-FAU matchup is going to be looking really good. And that's coming up pretty soon.
Is it now? Okay, good. Yeah. I'd love to see. Oh, that's going to be a tough one to pick. I'm already getting excited trying to figure out who I even go to that one.
It's November 9th, so you got a couple weeks to think about it.
Okay, good.
Yeah.
Can't believe that I'm getting excited about an FIU.
I know, man.
UK, but I am.
Well, both teams
if I said I wasn't.
Underperformed last year, so it's good to have some strength down there in Boca and Miami.
And now they're both starting to get some momentum too.
Yes.
All right, so that's it for this past week. Let's moving along.
Yeah, moving on. Week 8? Is that what we're heading into? Yes, it is. Yes, indeed. Are you scared, Chris? Florida is facing an opponent who just beat number 3 Georgia, who's no longer number 3. How do you feel?
I don't know if scared is the word. I mean, I'm curious and optimistic because, they did beat Georgia and shocked everybody, but now there's no secret. The secret's out. Now they have a target on their back. I don't know if target's the right word, but red flags are going up.
Yeah.
And so I want them to be confident. I want South Carolina to feel like they can beat everybody because that shifts the attention away from us. And I'm glad that they did that. I'm glad that they snuck out that because if they didn't do it against Georgia, they might have done it against us and surprise everybody. Point. So now that the cat's out of the bag, hey, we can beat a top team. I like that. I think that favors the Gators.
That's an interesting point. And also with the SEC schedule, you just know that you're gonna end up as a bad team beating one of these good teams eventually.
Yeah,
it's just gonna happen. You're gonna have a couple of those year. Tennessee did beat Mississippi State. I mean, Tennessee was not a better team, but they were on Saturday. Mm-hmm. And that's just going to happen. Vandy's going to sneak up. We've talked about how they beat Tennessee, last 3 years in a row. South Carolina has, I think, the toughest, if not one of the toughest schedules in the country.
Right.
It was bound to happen. So it just ended up being here. And I just don't get it. Georgia, every time you throw the ball this much, you lose. This happened with LSU last season. I mean, does Kirby Smart, as good as a coach as he is, just not realize that? I don't understand. But either way, you had some uncharacteristic things that, South Carolina just took advantage of.
Yeah. And they have there are some things that scare me. Like Will Muschamp is a good defensive coach. You saw the guy, what's his name? The corner, I think number 24, I can't pronounce his last name, had 3 picks. One of them he took to the house.
Oh, yeah.
And he's a tall, lanky corner, which could pose matchup problems. So Muschamp knows what he's doing. But it's funny, there's some parallels with our teams in that we're playing our second string guy. Both have tweaked their knee, but are going to be playing this game. They have their third string backup quarterbacks now are mobile quarterbacks.
Wow.
They bring in as wrinkles. So a lot of eerie similarities there. Your starting quarterback's gone. So that's just something I noticed there. The key thing though that really is we're gonna need Grenard and Zuniga back, or one of them back. We have to get some kind of pass rush. If not them, someone else on the line. Jeremiah Moon, Ankrum. I thought a guy like Zachary Carter could be a guy that would step up. Some kind of push on the line. Now, Grenard and Zuniga are both game time decisions, which probably means they're not going to play. That's usually how that goes. So we're healthy on the back end with the corners and safeties, but up front we're just getting real thin. So that kind of worries me a little bit.
Okay.
We need that push. I like our offense. I like the way that they're clicking. They handled Death Valley. I think they can handle South Carolina. But I think it's going to be an ugly game. It's just going to be an ugly game. South Carolina plays ugly football. We play ugly football. And so But I don't think that South Carolina is going to be like LSU. I think they're going to make some mistakes. I think that we can put them in positions to make some mistakes. Their kicking game isn't the greatest, They struggled against Georgia and all season. So I like our special teams in that. So I think I'm going to go with the Gators, a close one. It's going to be an ugly, close, sloppy game. I say Gators 23, South Carolina 17.
Okay.
It's going to come down to the end, but I think Florida pulls it out there.
I like that score. I'm going to take Florida to win also. South Carolina is not a crisp team. They have edges, and so from what I've seen so far, you're right. Muschamp is kind of familiar with the program, but still, you guys play every year. And yeah, I mean, from what I saw, Florida being able to score in the red zone and being able to pass the ball, I just don't see a repeat of a team that struggled in certain areas like they did on the road. I know this is at South Carolina again, so you go on the road again, but definitely not very hostile. And yeah, the skill players would make a difference there, so that could be interesting. But assuming Trask doesn't turn it over and keeps progressing, which no reason to believe he wouldn't, I think the Gators will be fine. I'll take, how about 26-14?
Okay. Yeah, it's going to be closer than it should for sure. But I think we're going to win. But one thing that does stink, it's a noon game. And,
yeah,
noon on the road is just never good.
That's true. But you win, the rest of the day you can just watch other teams.
Sure.
So
I do like that.
All right. So Florida State also goes on the road to Wake Forest. Now, let's remind everybody preseason that Chris picked Wake Forest to win this game. And going into this game, Wake Forest is the favorite. So kudos to you, my man. I did not see Wake Forest having this kind of year. They actually did get their first loss to Louisville after losing 62-59.
I know.
At home. And this is what really stunk about this game. It was the primetime ACC Network game, and by the time the game was over, there were maybe 500 people left. Wake Forest only has an enrollment of like 8,000, so I've always kind of wondered why they're in the ACC to begin with, but that's another conversation. This actually will be a good matchup. This is a team that Florida State has traditionally owned. We've lost a few times, of course. I think our most recent loss, maybe 2011. I know we lost then. There was actually a span, I think it was 06 to 08. We lost 3 years in a row. Very unlike us. This is a team that we just don't have a lot of respect for. Traditionally, doesn't have success. And I think a lot of that translates here. What I'm hoping happens, and this is a worry probably across Nole Nation, is that we don't let Clemson beat us twice here. And I don't see any reason to believe that would be the case. Marvin Wilson and the rest of our defensive line is really still getting pressure. Janarius Robinson had to sit out the first half at Clemson, so maybe he's a little bit more hungry. He did come in the second half and play really well against the Tigers too. So keeping him, Corey Durden, engaged, that's huge. I like I don't know if youth movement is the right term, but getting more young guys involved on defense like Akeem Dent. That's huge. Just keeping the offensive line intact. So, I mean, Wake Forest runs a lot of plays, but let's keep in mind that running a lot of plays doesn't always mean you have success. Right. Last year, Wake Forest ran over 100 plays on us at home, and we still won comfortably. So, I have no reason to believe we're going to struggle here. And I have gone really, really hard back and forth who I'm going to take in this game. And I felt very, very comfortable with this preseason. Now I don't. I'm taking the Noles to win, but I've never felt less confident in my life. There's a really good chance Florida State loses this game, and it'll tell me probably by the second quarter I'm gonna know. Do we come out and we perform like we did against like the NC States and the Louisvilles that we've already beaten? If so, we're gonna be fine. And I really feel like the culture has changed enough that Taggart shouldn't have to worry about games like this. But time will tell. And we got to get Cam Akers going again and get everybody a lot of touches. Even when we struggled against Clemson, we still had like 8 guys catch a pass. So as long as we spread the ball around and don't let Wake go crazy and score a lot, I think we're going to be okay. But this will be a very close game, and I won't fault you if you pick Wake Forest again.
Yeah, I'm going back and forth. I know that if this is in Tallahassee, I'm going Florida State for sure. It's a night game on the road. I don't know how Florida State's going to respond after Clemson. They didn't look like they completely quit, but you can't just feel good about yourself after getting blown out like that, no matter what the circumstances are. I don't know how you could speak to this more than I can, how they typically respond under Taggart after a loss. But we got to see how Wake Forest responds after a loss too. You know, they had a tough, crazy game. But I'm sticking with my original pick from the season. Sometimes I've wavered. Yep. I don't know if Florida State can do enough, so I'm going to say Wake Forest 28, Florida State 27.
By 1. Okay.
1 point, last second field goal. I guess they can't do a field goal if they got 28. Okay, you're not going to like this. Florida State misses a last second field goal.
Oh, yeah, I've seen that happen before. Many times.
Something like that. So 28-27.
I'm actually going to take the Noles. I'll 30-28, so by 2.
Okay.
I do not see this.
You say they make the field goal.
How about this? They're up by 9, and they give up a late touchdown to Wake to win by 2.
Okay.
How about that?
Something like that. Okay. Cool.
Yeah,
all right.
Something around that range. I'd be very surprised if either team wins by more than 4.
Yeah, I don't see. I mean, I can see FSU's offense could get it going, but I don't know. So yeah, I'm sticking with Wake by 1.
Yeah, and plenty of reasons to believe they will win. I mean, they run a lot of plays. Newman and Hartman, both quarterbacks, really can really gash you with the passing game. But as we proved last year when we played them at home, you can really bury yourself quick if you go too quick.
Yeah, right.
And Florida State kind of did that against Clemson. I mean, first drive out of the halftime, 48 seconds later, you're punting. So you got to be careful and balance how quickly you want to run your tempo.
Right.
Okay. All right, so split on that one. Might be the first game this year we're split on a Noles game.
Oh, yeah. I think so.
Sweet. All right. Miami plays Georgia Tech. Chris, what are your thoughts on that?
Yeah. Georgia Tech's not doing so hot this year. And Miami, although it was an ugly win, it was a win, and they're getting some confidence back. And even the Va Tech game, the second half of that, and then going into the Virginia game, they're getting some kind of momentum. It's ugly, but I think this is going to be an ugly game too. But I think guys like Jordan Dallas and Nkosi Perry and the Canes defense does enough. They're going to win. I'll take Miami to win this game.
Yeah, Georgia Tech is really struggling coming off the triple option. Jeff Collins is trying to run like a moderate quarterback running offense this year to kind of transition these guys, but it's going to be a tough year. Mm-hmm. The only thing I think what Miami should be worried about is, if you have another bad offensive performance and Georgia Tech senses, blood in the water, they go and they sneak out some heavy run plays, or their defense gets a stop, or they force a couple of turnovers. Georgia Tech can win a low-scoring game. Their only win this year was against South Florida. That's exactly how they did it, 14-10.
Yeah.
And, eventually Georgia Tech is going to win at least one conference game. So it's either going to be, in my opinion, either this one or NC State at home. They also have Pitt, Virginia, Va Tech, and then they get the pleasure of losing to Georgia at the end of the year. So I don't see a lot of chances for wins here, and I really think Georgia Tech could probably try really hard, and if I'm Collins, I might sell out on this one or one more game the rest of the year to try and get a W. But I'm still going to take Miami to win.
Yeah.
And probably by 14. I don't think it's really that close.
Yeah, I mean, Georgia Tech's on a 4-game losing streak. I don't see anything from them that would tell me that they're going to turn it around.
Yeah.
You make a good point that they could go all out on this. It's a big name and not many other opportunities there, but I haven't really seen much from them. 16 points a game,
and they've lost to the Citadel, so
yeah,
it's pretty bad. I think they lost to Temple and only scored 2 points. So
yep.
That one sticks out.
Yeah. Collins is definitely a defensive guy. I've not found his offense yet. Just yet.
Yeah, and that's expected in a transition year like this, coming off of Paul Johnson triple option. So
yeah.
All right. So it should be comfortable there. Let's see. UCF, off of a bye week, comes home. They got homecoming against East Carolina. And
Pirates.
I was kind of looking at UCF's schedule the rest of the season. Every game is winnable, and they may only lose. Well, I'd say there's an 80% chance, in my opinion, they win them all. So It starts with East Carolina at home. East Carolina, Neighbors is a quarterback. Pretty good stats. Manages the game pretty well. I expect a little bit of more from him this season as far as like a dual threat kind of guy, and it hasn't happened. So I think East Carolina's scoring around the 17 to 20 points a game range and should be about one possession more. The Knights will probably win pretty comfortably at home. They probably let off some frustration because their season already isn't going as planned. And they're going to need some help with Cincinnati losing. You do see Memphis go down. Temple is a pretty good opponent. You got them the rest of the year, so if you have a loss, it might come there. But this week, I think they take care of business. East Carolina has just that potential to play close just because they've played so much, and I think they've played every year since they've been in the American together, but just not enough talent. So I think the Knights win pretty comfortably at home.
Yeah, you gotta go UCF on this, especially coming off a bye. They're upset and they want to take it out on someone, a team that's not that good. But I do know that East Carolina is going to score 20 points. You want to know how I know this?
How do you know this?
UCF gives up 20.7 points a game. East Carolina scores 20.7 points a game.
Oh, wow.
So if they did points or decimals, I would say East Carolina's going to score 20.7. But I'm going to round down and say they score 20 points. Now UCF's going to score like 60, but ECU calling it 20 points.
Yeah, I really think I want to see some more running attack out of UCF. So they need to get it in gear here. It's been about a month since I've seen a game where I was impressed. So get Otis Anderson, get Killins involved. Where is he gone? 4 to 5 rushes a game is not enough. So that's what I want to see from the Knights.
Yeah. I think you will.
Hope so.
Okay. FAU hosts Marshall. I think this might be a Friday night game.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. 6:30 Friday night game. Kind of early for a East Coast. Anyways, weird. But this is a game that Marshall, they're okay, but I think FAU is really hitting their stride right now and at home. Like you said, they found their running back Davidson. So I'm going to go FAU here. Maybe close for a little bit. I think they're going to outlast them, though. I wouldn't be surprised if Marshall really puts up a fight, though, and maybe squeaks one out. But FAU is just going in the right direction at the right time. So I'm going to go the Owls in this.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I like Marshall's performances against some teams of equal caliber. I mean, they did take Boise State down the wire, but that was after they had just beaten Florida State 5 or 6 days earlier. Got handled by Cincinnati, but beat Old Dominion, who's pretty decent out of Conference USA. Yeah, but 3-3 on the season for the Thundering Herd, just not enough. And you're right, FAU right now, they could steamroll into the FIU game, in my opinion. They're just getting better every week. So I'm in agreement there. Owls to win.
All right. Take it back over to South Florida.
Yes, so they go on the road to face the U.S. Naval Academy. And this was kind of cool. I mean, Navy is just not They're just, well, I guess they technically are a school. They're the academy. They're not a school that focuses on football. Like, it's just kind of like the history of military service, and this was something that UCF kind of brought to the forefront when they traveled to play them. I believe it was last year or 2 seasons ago. So it's really kind of neat to see all of this. Navy has been a little bit of a mystery so far this year, and by that I mean with the triple option, this is kind of what you always get. Mm-hmm. But they should have probably beaten Memphis, and that's a loss that I point to. I'm like, should have had that one. But they haven't played a terribly hard schedule, and they're 4-1 so far. Actually, Tulsa came off of a really good game against SMU and then just laid an egg against Navy, so maybe that rushing attack is legit. I don't see any way South Florida matches up with the athletes here, so I think Navy wins.
Yeah, I was hesitant to go with South Florida, but just because of the last couple wins. But, yeah, it's going to be Navy. It's just going to be them at home. I think it's just going to be too much for them. South Florida is finding ways on offense, but on defense, it's not going to be enough to slow Navy down.
Right. And one thing Navy's kind of done to help himself is their quarterback, I think it's Reynolds, he's throwing more than he used to. Like, I think all of last season he threw, I'm not kidding, Chris, I think all of last year he threw 9 passes.
Is it Perry?
Perry, thank you.
Yeah.
Which means he threw less than 1 pass a game.
Yeah.
This season, I think he hit that total by game 3. They said we're going to have him throw, I don't know, let's go crazy and have him throw 3 to 5 a game. Whoa. So these are definitely, if you're not a 3 yards in a cloud of dust kind of person, these are not fun games to watch.
Yeah.
Me personally, I love them. So
yeah.
But yeah, Navy at home versus South Florida, pretty easily.
Yeah, I agree. All right, and then we wrap it up with UTEP going on the road to FIU. UTEP 1-4 on the season. FIU just much like FAU hitting their stride. They're gonna handle them pretty well. The spread's 23, which I'm really a little bit surprised on that, but I think they'll be fine. Panthers for the win.
I'm not surprised. UTEP, UConn, Akron, UMass, 4 of the worst teams in the country.
Oh, okay. I didn't realize UTEP was that bad.
Yeah, they just haven't rebuilt. I mean, they had some talent back in the day, but it never amounted to anything. And FIU just pretty bad schedule. I mean, to get a lot of these they already played UMass too. So
yeah.
You can't always anticipate these kind of. I mean, UTEP's been bad for a while, so maybe you saw that one coming. UMass maybe not. But yeah, I don't see any way FIU loses this game or even struggles. It may be like a game last week where they comfortably have 200-yard rushers.
Oh, okay. I'd like to see Jones how he does against them.
Right, and I love that. By the way, FIU is keeping their backup quarterback involved in the running game, at least 3 to 4 carries a game. That's a really good thing to do. I'm blanking on his name right now, but he was the one that came in for Morgan when he was hurt early in the season. Right. Keeping him involved is a very good idea.
Yeah, you need to, because you never know. Like they knew last year, you never know when they're going to need him to step up, and nothing like real game experience to help you get ready.
Couldn't agree more. All right, man, well, that was fun. I always love our conversations. That went really quickly too.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, how can the fans reach out to us? Maybe have feedback on how our teams lost or what they could have done, or maybe you want to just pitch in their picks for the week.
Yeah, there's if you need to vent, if you want to let us know how you feel about Charlie Strong now, whatever, just go to FloridaFocusPodcast.com. You can hit us up and check out the podcast there, see our different social media outlets, ways to reach us. That is the central hub, FloridaFocusPodcast.com.
Yep, and don't forget Fun Pick Fridays. Check your Instagram on Friday. We'll have all the picks, and we don't do scores for anyone but State of Florida, but we'll put our score predictions there too.
Yeah.
So, all right. Well, if you feel the need for our fans and community, any kind of feedback would be appreciated. An email, a rating on your podcast player of choice, whatever. Just make sure you're involved. We have a season-long contest going on. Send us in an audio form. What is your favorite in-game experience for your favorite team? Tell us about that in story form, and we're giving away a prize. Ready to know what it is, Chris?
It is a fridge.
It's not a fridge.
It's a mini fridge.
No, it's not even a refrigerator magnet.
Okay, wow. Okay, that was my next guess.
No, I feel like it's a pretty good prize. The winner gets a $25 Amazon gift card.
Okay.
So if all you have to do is submit the story, you're in for a drawing into this. So, I mean, come on, how hard is that? Take 4 minutes of your day, throw it in a voice memo if you have an iPhone, or, send it to us in audio form some other way. But
create a flip book,
Sure, whatever that is.
I'm not that old, am I? Where flip books aren't even.
Oh, okay. I thought it was an app or something. I was really confused. No.
Oh, app idea where you can create your own flip book in the. Okay. If you're listening to this, do not copyright this. I copyright this right now.
Oh, great idea. So I mean, Amazon gift card. Who doesn't want one of those? So
I definitely do. I'm gonna go ahead and type mine in right now.
Yeah, there you go.
Eligible to win. I don't know if I am, but probably not. Some kind of conflict of interest.
Right.
Rules,
Stipulation of rules in upper household.
Yeah.
Not eligible if you're a co-host of the show, kind of deal.
Well, I'm out.
But I can't wait for those. And this is an all-season thing. We'll probably even extend it into January so you have time. This season's busy for us as well, so we don't want to push the pressure on. But you got a couple of months to get those in. All right, Chris, any last thoughts on week 7 or 8 before we sign off?
No, this is good therapy. We got it out of our system. Now we can move on to the next game.
Yep. I mean, these were tough games against top 3 teams, literally. So, the fact that both teams, I think Florida overperformed, honestly, and Florida State kind of did what you thought they would.
Yeah.
So, all right, very good. Well, thank you to the fans community again. This is Brandon saying, go Noles.
Go Gators.